Brother Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, boy.
Can you come in front of the congregation, sir?
Oh, my
We
God.
need you to step in front of the congregation.
Yeah.
I know you got millions of followers with a blue check by your name, but you know you done messed up, right?
Facts. Super facts.
So I want you to lay out the context of why we're bringing Brother Stephen A. Smith in front of the congregation.
So your man, right, SAS Stephen A. Smith, he comes out. So, and that's a whole nother conversation we'll have later. There was a picture that was leaked by the Washington Post, and we're going to cover this from so many angles. And it showed Jerry Jones in a mob full of white men, young white men, that were in front of and trying to barricade or trying to block young black boys from going to a desegregated school that they didn't want desegregated. When he was asked about it, he said, and I quote, "I was just there to observe. I was just there to watch. I wasn't really there participating. I was 14. I didn't know any better." To the equivalent of that, that's what he said. We all, Sam Acho says something about it on his media platform. A few other people said something about it in the media platform. I don't think Shannon and Skip talked about it, which was kind of funny. I didn't hear two peeps out of them. Anyway, Stephen A. Smith gets up there, and the minute he talks, you think that he's going to say what you think he's going to say.
Well, no, he tried to lighten the blow first and talk about...
Time out.
Okay.
I know where you're going with this. But he said, well, I'm upset, but not for the reasons you think. So I'm like, oh, okay. So he going to get this from another angle. He says, I don't like that they put that picture out because I wouldn't like somebody putting me out there.
False equivalent. Go ahead, but I got a retort.
Just showcasing of what you were doing at the age of 14. Would you want anybody to know what you were doing at the age of 14?
Let me know when you're going to throw me the alley.
Well, I'm going to throw it soon. But this is the thing. I just was, my jaw dropped. They paying you. What check did he cut for you to get up there and talk like that? Come on, son. That's a snub job. That's one. But it was so shocking that he made the comment. And just, he knows better. He knows better. So
Remember,
as much as he
stick with the term off code.
Off code. So as much as he got off code and short off code, and then he tried to convince Akko and Bart Scott, well, now that I'm listening, it seems like something's a little fishy because it came out of, well, I don't care where it came from. It's wrong. He is wrong. And let me make this clear. Are we really surprised? If Robert Kraft, let me say this, and I'm going to say that name. That's another one. If we found some emails showcasing Robert Kraft saying some racist words or behavior, I would not be shocked. If Arthur Blank, who I'm a very fan of the Falcons, Falcons are my favorite team, I would not be shocked. We don't have any black owners in the team. Black coaching is horrific in hiring. Jerry Jones, who looks like he screams good old boy behavior in his presentation and his look, was seen clearly. You could tell he was down with this. This is what he likes. I don't want to hear that he paid. And it's always the NAACP comment. Oh well, he helps a lot of black athletes and he paid a lot of black people. But it's funny. I don't really see a lot of black people in his office. And I don't see a lot of black people in his press box unless it's former players. Really don't. So I don't really care about, he talking about they posted up when he was 14. Come on, man. We ain't talking about he was a stick-up kid. We ain't talking about like he did something with some chick that he shouldn't have been doing. We ain't talking about that. We talking about this is how he really feels, and this is something that's a representation of what we already knew and what we've seen from him from day one. So for you as a man that you didn't step up and say and speak for us the way you should have spoke, you sat out there and tried to reword it another way, which you had clearly have gotten paid for that. You got a check cut for you for that. You just need to stop. Stop. Just let it go. You look crazy. And I saw the comments, and we weren't the only ones that felt the way we felt. Trust me when I tell you. A lot of people looking at him like, we know you sold your soul. For those comments alone. But I'm going to let it go to you. I'm just going to say you're off code. He's playing himself. And you know what's funny? Let me go here. There's another person on that show that anytime it's about something about a woman, they jumping up and down and hooping, hollering and cheerleading. Oh my God, you need to be brought to your knees and you need to be held accountable. What about him? I ain't see you open your big mouth about that. You sat there and kept quiet like a mule. So I'm trying to figure out what check is he cutting to these people that y'all just sat there and sold your soul and played yourself like that. He ought to be ashamed of himself, man. And he a father. He should be ashamed of himself from all angles. I don't care who he is that and who's offended by it. As a man, he should be. As a man and a father, period, he should be ashamed of himself. You playing yourself. You making yourself look like a clown. So there go the alley-oop to you. That's a representation of how I feel about it. It's for black men, you look bad. Period.
That's what I was waiting for you to say. You said all the man and the father and all that stuff, which is clearly because me and you are men, me and you are fathers.
Yeah.
And you're 1,000% correct.
Facts.
But
Thank you.
You just threw in the word at the end of your soliloquy that should have been first is he's a black man. So me and you had many podcasts. We're only on 12, but we talked about a lot of black topics. And there's something I said twice. And I'm going to bring it to brother Stephen A. Smith. I know more than basic Black American History 101. When I hear some of these people make these comments and they are as educated as they are, because he went to a HBCU, he's very educated. I just sit back and wonder, how are these grown people in their 50s still not educated on basic Black American history? Why am I saying that? As a person who's a Black American, who has family from roots from the South, from Mississippi, who knows not just my family history, but just a general overalization of what we were going through during Jim Crow. The reason why he messed up when he made that comment, well, he was just 14 and it's not right. First, it was a false equivalent, brother Stephen A. Smith. It was a false equivalent. I can't show me 36-year-old Deshaun 14, whatever the math is, when I was 14, and compare it to a Jerry Jones back in Arkansas in 1950.
Wow.
You don't want to know why that's a false equivalent? Back when I was 14, the thing that I probably was doing was listening to Dipset or whatever I was doing running around in high school. Back what they were doing in 1950 in Arkansas was what that picture showed. Going through desegregation. It was very common. That wasn't the only picture. There's hundreds of pictures at other schools in Texas and all throughout the South of Black people being tormented when that first happened. And let me go here. I had a lot of stuff to do, so I didn't get the graphics that I wanted to, because I was going to bring some graphics for this to make it even more. There's a lot of pictures from the Jim Crow South, and maybe it's good that I didn't bring, because I would have to add a trigger warning. But unfortunately, during that time period, there's pictures floating around of our ancestors being hung and burned, and people standing around looking, watching. And it's not no conspiracy theory, but those pictures were used as postcards in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s. You want to know what I want to say? A lot of those people in those pictures didn't look like 50-year-old men. Some of the people in those pictures look 14, brother Stephen A. Smith.
Preach, dude.
That's why we need to see images of him and other people in position of power, whether they're lawmakers, whether they're lieutenants on the police department, whether they're sitting on a school board, or whether they're billionaire owners who are in their 70s or 80s. That's why it's relevant to see pictures from their past, not to bring in dirt because of cancel culture, as he tried to dumb it down to, this is this cancel culture. No. These are remnants of the Jim Crow South. And the reason why it should have never come out your mouth, because anytime we talk about history, what do they say to us, That happened so long ago. Why can't y'all let it go? I'm sorry. My dad is 57 years old. He was born in Mississippi at the tail end of Jim Crow. He's still alive. My grandmother is 75, born in Mississippi. She's still alive. Whole bunch of family older than her in their 80s who are still alive, born in that time period. Point I'm making is, as Black people, we all got family in their 60s, 70s, and 80s who was born through that time period, who lived through that time period, who went through those desegregated schools, who had to drop out and work in the field.
Yep, my grandparents.
My great aunties and uncles, my grandparents, who lived through that, who are still alive. These people aren't dead and gone, 20 years removed.
Facts.
They're still with us. We still can pick their brain and ask what they were doing in 1950 when they was in high school, or not in high school. So that's why it hurts when we go through that and we got somebody speaking for us talking about, oh, that's not fair. This feels like cancel culture. This is American history that deals with us. Mm-hmm. And you try to dumb it down to cancel culture and what we were doing at 14 years old. This is what I keep saying on this podcast.
Wow.
A lot of the people that speak for us don't know basic Black American history, and it's irritating my left nutsack.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yo.
The reason why I want to see these pictures of not just Jerry Jones, because then maybe it will help me understand your unfair hiring practices in the NFL when we talk about why aren't there a lack of representation of Black coaches and Black owners. Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. What about the politicians who keep signing these laws like Mitch McConnell? How does Mitch McConnell look like a young 50-year-old dude, or does he look like an 80-year-old man, eh?
Okay, 80-year-old man.
Okay, so what time period did he live through?
Through the segregated South, segregated times, racist times.
So wouldn't that kind of make sense to understand what he was going through during that time, to understand the laws that he is passing now? Wouldn't that kind of correlate? What about the police, those police chiefs who are still didn't retire yet and they're in their 70s, and then you look in their certain police departments to see the corruption? Wouldn't it help to know if, hey, we just found a picture of this when he was 20 and this is what they were doing back in the 60s? Mm-hmm. Or is that just cancel culture when it's dealing with Black Americans?
Right. Facts.
That's why it didn't make no sense.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not just calling you out for the sake of clicks and, oh, this sounds like a hot topic. You were clearly off code, and as educated as you are, you sound like you didn't go to a HBCU, or you're just not in tune with basic Black American history. Mm-hmm. And it was so dangerous for you to make that comment because we're going through a time with CRT where they're trying to pass and take our history out of school.
Yep.
Sorry, this needs to be front and center every time it deals with us. Because when we are harmed in the public media, you said something last time, we keep letting them off the hook.
Yep.
Remember you said something to that degree?
Facts.
When we get offended, we kind of figure out a way to talk around it.
Yeah.
Oh, it isn't that bad. Maybe we're overreacting.
No.
Oh, it's cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine going to a living relative that's in their 70s and telling them, hey, we found pictures of this person and that person that was tormenting y'all and da-da-da-da, but yo, it's not that big of a deal. It's cancel culture. Man, the elder probably yoke you up and smacked it.
You know what he said that bothered me? Not to cut you off. I think it was Jerry Jones. He said something to the fact, we just happened to be there. We was just there to be there. What was you doing there?
Come on, eh?
What was you doing there?
This is why I brought up the pictures of the lynchings of us during that time period.
Like, no,
all those people standing around. What was they doing there, eh?
They was observing and enjoying it. Yeah. So it's the same thing with him. That's why he like, yo, I was just there. No, you wasn't, man.
You can see the context of that. Go Google that picture.
I saw it.
There's people there with cameras. There's people there mugging.
You know who I want Stephen A. Smith to talk to? Those young Black men that were sitting up there getting blocked. Go talk to them. And then you tell me how you feel the way you feeling right now. I'm going to say it again. I don't care how he feel, and I don't care about nothing about him. We don't ever cross paths, but even if we did, so what? Long story short, I wish we was both younger so we could deal with it like grown men. Let me say this. Like, you saying what you saying, you ought to be ashamed as a father, as a son, or whatever you call it, as a man, period, for that comment alone. Go talk to those Black men that were blocked out of that school that day.
There's a bunch of Black men still alive that was desegregated.
I understand it, but specifically those men, I want you to go talk to them and tell them that thing that you, and talk that off-code behavior that you was talking that day on First Take. Go talk to them and tell them that. It's kind of like with Deshaun Watson. You know, Mad Dog was like, you know, if I had to talk to Deshaun Watson, I would make him watch the HBO thing where the girls were talking about how they felt with what he did. And then I would ask him, now, tell me they're lying. So I would like to ask Jerry Jones and maybe Stephen A. Smith, you know, how can I put this? The Django characters. That's my best way of putting it. And go talk to those young Black men that were blocked off. Tell me how you feel. I want to see how brave you're going to be to go talk to them. Make sure their family's around too. I want to see how bad your mouth is then.
Their grandkids that are alive.
Yeah, looking at you.
Their kids that are alive.
Facts, thank you. And then looking stupid. How you looking like Samuel L. Jackson of Django. That's how you look. That's the best way I can put it without saying what I really want to say. So, but I'll give you you right back to you.
Nah, you took the words and you just said it from an angle that I didn't think of.
Mm-hmm.
Those black men could be alive if they're in their 70s or 80s, but even more important, their descendants. They darn well probably have kids, nieces, nephews, and grandkids that are alive. How do you think they felt when they watched that for you to limit that time in their father, grandfather's life as a cancel culture moment? Oh, it's not fair to bring up a picture from that. Yeah, the hell it is, because that's what we've been through and that's what we're still going through.
Yeah. Right.
There's a bunch of billionaire owners, not just in sports, but in various corporations that we want to know where did they get their money from. That's a whole nother topic we don't got time for right now.
Yeah, let's not get started on that. Or as they say, as the cops always say, follow the money.
I used to live in Long Island for a very long time. And you know what they call Long Island? A lot of towns you drove through? Old money.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm going to say it slowly. I used to live in Long Island a very long time. And there was a lot of towns you used to drive through, and they used to say that's old money. They ain't mean from 1960. And I'll leave that there.
Facts.
I think this is a very important, not just for Stephen A. Smith, but for us. When stuff like this happens, it needs to be an outrage, no matter how small your platform is or how big your platform is. We got to stop excusing this every time we get harmed from stuff like that. That's not no small thing. D-Sex, seriously, you know how many family members that I've talked to, whether they're now gone or alive, that told me they couldn't even finish school because of the time period of what they were going through?
It was bad. Very bad.
Like I have a lot of family members in their 60s and 70s that are still alive that, we only could finish 6th grade because it just made sense to help the family out and sharecrop. Still alive. They in their 70s. They don't got dementia. They really remember that shit.
Yeah. Yep.
So, like I said, let this be a learning moment for Brother Smith, whether you care or not, because you got so many Twitter followers or whatever. We don't care about that. But any person that speaks out on our behalf about our history, please come right into Zach and know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
You got any more to add on this?
Just a clown. That's all I'm going to say about that. When it comes to that topic, he is a clown. Very educated, very smart. And that's why I think it's making me look at him crazy, like you know better. And you from New York, so you know better. You know better. I'm reading sports-wise. Like I said, he a smart dude. He's not stupid. He's educated, man. I know I'll be calling names, but everything aside from this topic, he the dude. But on this, I got no respect for you, none whatsoever.
Epic fail.
Super fail. Embarrassment is the word. Period.
So you want to piggyback and go to Jerry Jones, since we're already here?
Yeah. Did you want to talk about Jerry Jones? I didn't.
Okay. We could talk about something else.
No. Did you want to talk about Jerry Jones? We could talk about
Nah, fuck him.
Yeah. Let me say this about Jerry Jones. The last thing, I think he was asked about, minority hiring in the NFL, and he said that we have failed. And the reporter asked him, well, what can you do to fix it? And he didn't have an answer. He just didn't really have an answer.
He didn't have an answer? Wow.
He seems to have an answer when they want to play on the field, though, and he wants to cut him a big check. But he ain't got no answer for nothing else in the office. Or the coaching staff. Because clearly, you hired Jason Garrett. You hired, what's his name? What's the coach's name now? I forgot his name. Green Bay Packers former coach, which he's doing a great job now. Dan Quinn all of a sudden is a defensive guru. That's funny because when he was in Atlanta, he was a horrible defensive court guy. So I don't. I don't know.
Man, that's my Nas ticking off.
Okay.
Or no, maybe.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay. Either way, like it's just he's just. Whatever, man. He is what he is. We all know what he is. I do want to piggyback off into something though that kind of relates to that.